Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, well, it's going to be a week of family drama as Matt and I get down and dirty and examine just how badly did our parents screw us all up. First up, it is Trey Edward Shults' Waves, the latest from the director of It Comes at Night. Then it's going to be Shia LaBeouf's penned film Honey Boy, directed by Alma Harral, which examines it's a dramatized, slightly fictionalized version of his upbringing. And then it's going to be the return of everybody's favorite role-playing game, Who Dat. We'll also be letting you know what you should be picking up on home video this upcoming Tuesday. But let's start the heartbreak up, Matt. Grab the tissues. Let's spend a few minutes talking about Waves.
He doesn't even care if I'm there. Do you care if I'm there?
No, I don't
you
care
do
if you're
care.
there.
And you should care.
Okay, all right, and nothing to worry about here. And you know why? Because the wise and noble father's gonna be there to hold it down.
Really? Where is he? Where is he? If you see him, will you send him my way?
Shame on you.
You see him sending my way, too.
We can go right now.
We can go?
Well, we can go right now.
That's what's up.
You think you can take the old man?
Oh, no.
You think you can make it?
Guys,
What's up?
can we not?
What's up?
It's that shoulder, right? Come on.
What's up?
Did you start?
Did I start?
I'm just making sure you started.
Nah. Did you?
Matt, did you ever have arm wrestling contest breakout between you and your dad in the middle of a diner, or is that just the end of this movie?
Yeah, not as an adult, no. Maybe as like a 5-year-old, And of course, he didn't let me win. He just, slammed me around a little bit and taught me a valuable lesson about life.
So why don't you spend a few minutes, Matt, and tell us, what is Waves all about, and what valuable lessons should we be learning?
Waves is about a family, a middle-class family that lives in South Florida. They are led by a patriarch who's well-intentioned but domineering. And they journey through, as a family, and just the narrative around each other about love and forgiveness and a tragedy that strikes the family and how it all comes together in the aftermath.
Matt, Waves is another A24 film. We have been on the A24 bandwagon for quite a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Waves? Is this another triumph for them? Is it... I'm reading lots of different things, so let people behind the curtain, Matt. So what I do is we watch the movie, right? I try and wait at least a day to let it sit with me. And then I start writing down all my thoughts.
Okay.
And then once I kind of formulate my opinion and figure things out, then I'll actually start to do some... I'll read some other reviews, and then run from there. So there have been some discussions that some people say this is an absolutely fantastic film, one of the best of the year. Other people say it's too stylized. It's like a music video, basically, with some heavy melodrama. Where do you fall in that?
I connected with this film. I thought it was overall a success. I think it was, the kind of dynamic of the family is something that I connected with, at least on some level. I do think that the technical choices of the kind of switching aspect ratios and everything that he's doing is an interesting choice, and I commend him trying to do that. I appreciate the kind of effort and the idea of committing to that, but at the same time, I don't know if sometimes it can be a little distracting. Sometimes it's not as successful as I think as it should be. Maybe if he had stuck with just kind of one, constant, or at least something more typical to what you would see in a film. But overall, I like this film a lot. I mean, Sterling K. Brown is excellent. Lucas Hedges, which we'll talk about again, is also very interesting in this. But Chris, I also wanted to get your opinion on something as well. I don't know. So obviously, this is a film about a middle-class black family in Miami, whereas Schultz is obviously, he's a white man. So there is some things going around that, obviously when he wrote this, he wrote it as race neutral. Like he didn't really have any particular message he was trying to get out. It's just that he knew that he wanted to work with the young man who was also in It Comes at Night. And he gave him the choice about which role he wanted to play, whether he wanted to play the son or if he wanted to play Lucas Hedges' character. He chose the son, so everything was kind of built around that. Mm-hmm. But I was watching a critic today, because I do a lot of the same thing, minus the writing things down, because I like to speak from the heart,
Not me.
But yeah, I like to think about my thoughts for a while. think about how I felt about a film, but I do catch up with some of the reviews. And I was watching a review by a guy who said, he said it very interesting. He said, a lot of the critics who seem to love this film are white critics, and those who are of color don't really connect with it. And he's wondering if he's saying he connected with it quite well, but is it because it's written by a white guy with whiter sensibilities? And he actually just kind of called out. He's like, Moonlight, this is not. And I was like, yeah, that's true.
Now, is this a critic of color?
No, it's a white guy.
Okay. Good, because let me tell you, there are not enough white guys talking about movies on the internet.
I mean, really, if you want to know about movies, you need to listen to a middle-aged white guy. Is really what you need. Is really what you need. It's the underrepresented demographic. That's why we're toiling in obscurity, Chris.
I know, almost 480 episodes in.
Yeah.
It would help if we did an ounce of promotion.
That's true.
Okay. So what do you? I'm a little fuzzy on what your question for me is.
Well, I'm wondering if the criticism is fair. So this guy was saying that any kind of service it pays to the Black experience in America is kind of lip service, and it's not really about that, and that the reason it's getting so much acclaim is because it's written by a white guy, so other white critics are having an easier time connecting with it.
I don't know. I mean, this isn't a Green Book issue, right? It's not.
No, but I think he's saying that something like a Moonlight is much more confrontational, and it comes from a more, I guess, legitimate place that's from someone who's experienced in the community.
I will admit, when I watched this, I felt sometimes some of the issues dealing with race felt almost inserted.
Right.
And not a part of the actual traditional narrative of the film. One particular scene where there is a woman that yells a racial epithet at him, right? It didn't, I don't know, it felt kind of shoehorned in perhaps.
Right.
And with you saying that this was written as race neutral, then I think that kind of connects with me. That makes sense to me. I think that makes sense. I think I agree with the central kind of thesis of that reviewer's proposition. I can't speak to the Black experience, obviously. So if those critics or those audience goers, those viewers feel that way, I can't fault them. I mean, I felt some of the stuff there may have felt a little out of place to me.
Right.
And I'm the middle-aged cis white male critic, right? So I would imagine that an audience member or viewer of color,
let's put critic in air quotes, okay?
Fair enough. May feel differently. I don't think I'd be inclined at all to disagree with him.
Yeah. I mean, it's always interesting. I mean, obviously, because of who we are, I mean, obviously we come from a different place and perspective and everything. So it's just interesting, like, to kind of put that way. I mean, I should go out and seek more of the reviews of people of color and see what they think. But this is just something this one reviewer said, and it struck a chord with me.
Yeah, if I was smart, I would have gotten one to join us in the show. I was thinking about reaching out to Colby Mack, as a gentleman we follow online. And of course, there's James of Pop Cult Net.
Right.
And we also have Cullis, we haven't talked to in a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I got to admit, I did have, and maybe this is part of, too, my own, I'm not sure how you'd classify it, so maybe you can help me with the verbiage. You're smarter about this stuff than I am, at least with coming up with the right words. I was anticipating some type of altercation with the police that never happened.
Right.
And I thought that because of Sterling K. Brown at one point in talking to his son, saying that we have to be better, we can't be, we have to work so much more harder just to be. So there weren't a lot of instances of the actual, I think, portrayal of the Black experience in from what I could tell, a mostly white neighborhood that he lives in, I think, though the high school stuff was pretty multinational. There were a lot of different races represented whenever we had the high school scene, so maybe I'm more just, that's my own unfortunate not bias, but just assumption of being in the affluent neighborhood in Miami, I guess.
Sure.
I think the film itself had a lot of, for me, Kubrickian touches to it. There's one particular scene jumps out at me too, where there's a hospital scene and he has that kind of slow tracking shot. There's a lot of that there. This thing is full of style, color, artistic flourishes, the framing, those, as I said, those tracking shots. the shifting, as you mentioned, those shifting aspect ratios to portray different moments and points of view, or at least evoking different emotions from you. Some long dissolves. There's also, for me, an unrelenting kind of sense of impending doom and dread. And I don't know if it's... I can tell you this, every time someone has their head out the window of a moving car, I call it the hereditary effect. I always anticipate something horrible happening.
Right.
But another thing, this film, above its style, like there's also that issue, right, with a rotating camera, that 360 camera that kind of keeps capturing.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So it made me kind of worried that it's almost more style than substance. But it does feature, I think, some absolutely fantastic performances, and a heart-wrenching script that felt very immediate and real to me. Mm-hmm. The film did impact me, man, on a kind of a deep emotional level. Mm-hmm. And the way the film kind of changes at its midway point, we shift our narrative focus, right, about halfway through. And I think that actually works a lot better than when it first happened. And I actually looked at my watch, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this thing almost over? And I'm like, oh, no, we got like 40 minutes to go here. And I was a little concerned about that. There's a long diversion as well that ends up actually making a lot of sense and really kind of making the film come full circle. Taylor Russell, who ended up being, for me, she plays Emily Williams, Tyler's sister. Mm-hmm. She actually, for me, ended up, I think, being the most memorable character in the film. And then Kelvin Harrison, who plays Tyler. They're both given a lot to pull off on this thing, and I think they nail it. Russell, I think, is even given the harder responsibility because she has to find meaning and bring the film back from the emotional cliff that we've been staring over for the first hour, and 15 minutes. And it's not just for her character, but for her entire family unit, and then us as audience members. So, as I said, there's that particular arc where they go to the other state for that reason. We try and avoid spoilers as much as possible. And is the allegory of Russell and Lucas Hedges' character having to deal with what they have to deal with. Is that the proper catalyst to start the healing for the family? I think so. I think it mostly works. So, yes. But, Matt, is it all too much? I felt at times, particularly with Kelvin Harrison, Tyra Williams' arc, was a bit too melodramatic for me. It felt too big. Mm-hmm. It's too many wrong decisions snowballing into the unfortunate events that lead the character to its conclusion. Was it just too melodramatic? Am I wrong about that?
No, I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting because I don't want to kind of compare this, but another kind of family drama we're going to talk about later in the show, and something that's so, to me, a lot tighter. I think this does stick out as something more melodramatic because I saw Honey Boy before I saw this. And I don't know. I think you're right. It does seem a little over the top, but it seemed okay for the part of, what I was along for this ride.
I think the film is really elevated for me by its performances. I think any shortcomings I have, maybe some of the artistic choices I wasn't on as on board with, and as I said, maybe it's a little too heavy-handed at times, maybe, but just the strength of its performances is really just elevates this thing, and I think paper covers over any potential minor issues I had with the film. Also, too, I want to mention a really strong score again by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I mean, these guys knock it out of the park almost every single time they show up. Their work in Watchmen has been fantastic. Right. And yet another great score here, though it's not as consistent it's not a massive part of the film. They use a lot of Shults uses a lot of other traditional songs that have a real emotional impact as well, and I think are perfectly chosen for the scenes that they're in. Right. So, did you have any other thoughts about Waves?
No, not really. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because obviously I think you should go into this relatively cold to see how, just to see how it all plays out. I enjoyed it. I mean, as far as the kind of Oscar baity kind of weighty material we're getting at this time of year, I think it fits right in. I think it's probably some of the better stuff we've seen. So I mean, I would give this film an A-. I mean, it's got its flaws, but it's still, I think, a very worthwhile film.
I agree. In fact, that's the exact same grade I gave it. Surprise, surprise. A- is all around for Waves. It is currently playing wide right now. If you've had a chance to see Waves, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, coming up on home video this week, at least your physical discs. I've been going back and forth on that because it used to be Blu-ray DVD picks, right? But does anybody buy DVDs anymore?
Yeah, nobody does. I mean, you almost could say your 4K Blu-ray picks, or you could just say your physical media picks.
I think it's what it is because I don't want to say home video either because digital comes out usually a week or two early.
Right.
And we're still, this show, we're physical media guys. We're going to push that. So, at least I am.
I know you do.
All right. Well, here's what's coming up. There's a good one coming up. I'm very excited to finally get a Blu-ray version of a film that I'm not going to say it's great, but it's a lot of fun. Here's a clip.
Why is she important?
She gets us in the door.
She gets us in the door how?
I want you to take the uniforms. Leave them out on the porch 3-4 days. Get the dry clean smell out.
When we do the switch, the highway,
Hey,
nobody can hear.
nobody can hear what you don't say.
I'm gonna be as quiet as an ant pissing on cotton.
I don't want you as quiet as an ant pissing on cotton. I want you as quiet as an ant not even thinking about pissing on cotton.
So, of course, just a classic trade back and forth between Gene Hackman and Sam Rockwell and David Mamet's Heist. An all-star cast with Delroy Lindo as well, Rebecca Pidgeon. I enjoy Heist. It's a lot of fun. Danny DeVito is a blast in this thing. I apologize for the poor audio of that, but this is a movie that's like 18 years old that like nobody has really seen.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I never even heard of it. I was like, what is this? I was trying to place it.
Yeah, Hackman leads a team of thieves, and they get that one big job, and things go kind of crazy. And it's got that Mamet dialogue that you either love like I do, or you can't stand. So, check out Heist. It's a lot of fun. And you can now get it on Blu-ray. I've been watching that DVD off and on every few years for probably 15 years now. Probably the big release, though, for the people who are a little more mainstream. Another movie with family issues. Brad Pitt in Ad Astra is getting its release. Includes some deleted scenes and a couple making of featurettes, as well as audio commentary by the director James Gray. The latest, I'm going to say exploitation film, Rambo Last Blood, is being released. And if you get it from Best Buy, you get a steelbook. There's 2 making of featurettes. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you, sit on this. Don't buy it. If you're a Rambo fan and you enjoyed this for all of its things,
Creative violence. The violence at least creative.
That's true. Yeah. There is a director's cut version. They cut about 4 minutes out of the movie. There's an alternate opening that wasn't included. It was actually released that way internationally, but not domestically. So there will be a double dip on this. We can get the full version. So I would say wait for that if you want to buy it, because it's not included. There's no deleted scenes. Downton Abbey, the movie, is being released. A show I have not yet watched. Mrs. First Run and I keep meaning to kind of catch up with it. But we're working our way. It's a fight, Matt. But we're working our way through all the Hallmark Christmas movies.
Oh, God.
We're so close.
I cannot stand the Hallmark Christmas movies. I mean, it's just a running gag. I mean, they just kind of run one into another, and I just turn to, I just say, you know what? I have a good feeling that they're going to fall in love at the end of this, So
I gotta email you my bingo cards. My wife and I made a bunch of bingo cards because they're always the same things happen.
Yep.
So at least that makes it fun. It's too bad we're not big drinkers. There's a photo book and recipe cards special edition. Are recipes a big thing with the show, Downton Abbey? I don't know.
Okay.
Audio commentary with the director, Michael Engler, cast conversations, deleted scenes, and more. The animated film Abominable. It's one of those. A magical Yeti must return to his family. Includes some deleted scenes, a making a myth, and more featurette. American Woman, starring Christina Hendricks, Aaron Paul, Sienna Miller, Will Sasso, and Amy Madigan. A woman raises her young grandson, Matt, after her daughter goes missing. The horror film Trick is being released as well. A no-nonsense detective tries to track down a serial killer named Trick, who is terrorizing a small town. Now I was torn on this one because it features an actor who I avoid at all costs and one of my all-time favorite actors of the 80s. So I didn't know what to do. So I defaulted to my love for Tom Atkins, then brought up Trick because of my absolute loathing of Jamie Kennedy. The documentary Where Is My Roy Cohen, about the almost, you could say, supervillain attorney Roy Cohen, is being released as well. You can check that out. New to Blu-ray, Scream Factory is releasing a couple films this week. One of them is the Stephen King adaptation Silver Bullet, which is his werewolf movie. Includes a new audio commentary with the producer, Martha De Laurentiis, and 2 new interviews as well. Have you seen Silver Bullet? I think I've seen pieces of it over the years.
Yeah, I have seen it, man. It's got Corey Haim as a paralyzed young man who gets a motorized and by motorized it means it has like a gas engine in it.
Cool.
Wheelchair that he dubs the Silver Bullet. Well, he tries to investigate the werewolf killings that are happening in town. It is terrible.
Yeah, I've always heard it's really bad.
It is. It's really bad. Spoiler alert, it's the priest, guys. The priest is the werewolf. So I root for you.
Scream Factory is also releasing To the Devil a Daughter, the Christopher Lee film that features a heretic priest who plots to use a teenage nun in a depraved sexual pact with the forces of darkness. Sounds pretty fun to me. And they're also releasing Murders in the Rue Morgue, the Bela Lugosi classic. MVD is giving us Shade, which had an all-star cast. I think it's a late 90s movie. The hand is quicker than the eye, and LA's underground gambling scene. Hustlers get hustled, and fortunes ride on every deal. 3 small-time grifters devise a plan to beat the ultimate card mechanic, the Dean. But a seat at the Dean's table doesn't come cheap, Matt. Stuart Townsend, Gabriel Byrne, Thandie Newton, Jamie Foxx, Melanie Griffith, and Sylvester Stallone all star in this film. Arrow is releasing standard editions of 2 previously deluxe edition sets. First is the complete Santana collection, which is kind of in the model of the spaghetti westerns of the day. And then the Asian series, the Female Prisoner Scorpion. So they're not going to have any of this cool cards and books and stuff. You're just going to get the movies now. And then your Sony catalog releases, quite a few this week. The aforementioned Heist. Look Who's Talking, the Kirstie Alley, Travolta, Bruce Willis classic.
Sure.
He says, ironically. The Remains of the Day, and The Cable Guy. Keanu Lorber is releasing White Squall, Mad Love, featuring Drew Barrymore and Chris O'Donnell. More on Drew Barrymore shortly. Heartbreak Hotel, and then Paradise, starring Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith. But Matt, your straight-to-DVD pick of the week. I am really excited about this one. Now, you're a little younger than me, so this may not have had the impact on you that it had on me. Do you remember all the shenanigans and goings-on about Amy Fisher?
Yeah. Joey Buttafuoco. Is this the Drew Barrymore thing?
It is. The Amy Fisher story, the special unrated edition, is being released. I guess it was a TV movie, but there was like one European release that actually was a little racier.
Oh, okay.
So that's coming up. So you see Drew Barrymore sizzles and this unbelievably true story. On May 19th, 1992, 17-year-old high school student Amy Fisher, played by Barrymore, fired a bullet into the head of Mary Jo Buttafuoco, played by Lori Patton of TV's The Commish, the wife of the body shop owner with whom she claimed to have been having a sexual affair. But in the explosive media frenzy that followed, did the truth become the most innocent victim of all? So, yeah. Oh, no, Alyssa Milano did one of these too, you know. There were 3 of them.
Wow. Buttafuoco's?
Well, 3 Amy Fisher movies.
Wait, what? How can there be 3 Amy Fisher movies? Did she play Amy Fisher in all of them?
No. One was Drew Barrymore.
Oh, okay.
Alyssa Milano played her in the other one. And then the third one, I can't remember her name.
She played Mary Jo.
Noelle? No. Some woman, I'm blanking on her name. I apologize, everybody. But yeah, so the Drew Barrymore one is getting its release on quite literally DVD. So you can pick up the steamy, unrated version. What should we be streaming this week, Matt? Noelle Parker, that was her name. Thank you very much.
All right.
What should we be streaming?
I have Disney Plus now, so I was kind of poking through some things. I actually caught up with Captain Marvel, which on the second viewing, I enjoyed a lot more than I did the first time around. You got me saying Drew Barrymore. I got Drew Barrymore on my mind now. Brie Larson, her performance, while still not great, probably still the weakest thing in that film. It's not as bad as I remember, or at least it's not as off-putting as I remember, now that I kind of know what to expect while watching the film. But I actually had a lot more fun with it than the second time around, so I would recommend it. Although I still cannot stand I'm Just a Girl. I wish they had used a different song. I hate that song. Way too on the nose. Damn it.
They should have gone with like Don't Speak or
No.
Spiderwebs. Sunday Morning is the best song on that album.
That is a great song. They could have done something like The Runaways. They could have done like Cherry Bomb or something, you know?
That would have been better. You're entirely right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I want to catch up with on the Disney Pluses?
What's that?
The Black Hole.
Oh, is that on there? I haven't seen
loved
that,
that as a kid.
I haven't seen that in like 30 years.
Yep, same here. I'm terrified and excited to watch it again. Where are you in Mandalorian?
I'm all caught up.
As am I. We're going to do a special YouTube-only edition where once the Mandalorian wraps, we're going to run everybody through it. So keep your eyes out for that. That'll probably happen early in 2020 in January.
Yeah, it'll be happen probably in January and February when the movies are terrible and that are coming out.
Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. Let's keep on moving. Oh, we're going to get through this together, Matt. So much pathos, so much angst. God, it sucks to be a kid. Here's a clip from Honey Boy.
I see you. Concentrate real hard. Be a 12-year-old. Pie fight. Ugh.
It's not a pie fight.
Think it through. What's your mother got a job for?
Just in case.
In case what?
I don't
In case
know.
you fail. In case it don't work out. Yes, man. She's filling your head full of fear. I pump you full of strength. Because we're on a team, and I know you got what it takes. You're a star, and I know it. That's why I'm here. I'm your cheerleader, honey boy.
I don't need to talk about my dad.
Good take, good take. You did it, you did it. Good job, everybody.
My dad's not the reason I drink. He's the reason I work.
Come here. Come here. Child like your mom!
So Honey Boy, Matt, is the somewhat dramatized, fictionalized story of Shia LaBeouf's career as a young child actor dealing with a domineering father isn't really the right word, right? It's more of a hanger-on guy who kind of pushes his kid. I don't know. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Not the film's not horrible, but the relationship of the father between Shia LaBeouf, it's tragic and sad to watch. And written by LaBeouf, directed by Alma Harral. It's got interesting kind of conceit to it. If I had any issues with it, Matt, it may be a little too indie. It jumps back and forth in time a lot, right? We have Lucas Hedges, 2019 All-Star, Lucas Hedges, who plays older Shia.
Until we talk about Adam Driver later in the year.
That's right. We have to decide whose year was it. Or it could be Natasha Lyonne's year. There's a lot of people. Lucas plays older Otis Lort. That is our stand-in for Shia. And then there's also a young gentleman who plays young Otis as well. And we jump back and forth in time. With the father taking care of the kid and pushing him, and then Lucas is dealing with the impact. He's now an alcoholic, and he's really struggling with anger. Laura San Giacomo shows up, who I haven't seen in a while, so I always like to see her and stuff, so that was fun. Matt, I imagine this must have been heartbreaking for LaBeouf to put together. I can't imagine the catharsis of this film, writing this, and then showing it to us. And I appreciate that it's dramatized, but if this is even 20 to 30% accurate, sweet Pete, man, my God, I can't begin to imagine. And again, much like Waves, I think we have some really great performances, a nice sharp script on this thing, even more artistic flourishes. If I had any issues, I think it'd be like I said, that it's a little too indie for me. Oh, by the way, Natasha Lyonne is in this as well. I forgot about that.
Well, there you go.
I was trying to figure out who she was because I saw her name in the credits, but she plays the mom, so she has an audio.
Gotcha.
Scene,
that makes sense. Yeah.
In the end, I think for Matt, or I should say, in the end for me, Matt, I think it felt a little bit empty and unfulfilled when I walked out of this thing.
Really?
I was missing something, and I don't quite know what that is yet. I haven't been able to put my finger on it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have an experience like LeBeouf's, but I'm less likely to like a film than you are when there's a lot of terrible life stuff going on, because I don't want to be reminded about life stuff a lot. Evidence A, Blue Valentine, that was a bit of a bummer. I didn't want to watch that again. But you know what? I connected with this thing, and I don't know. I mean, just the kind of redemption arc to an extent, of LeBeouf kind of working through his demons and coming clean and exposing a piece of himself that, this is kind of the stuff that I went through. This is partly what influences me, as all the weird stuff I was doing. I don't know. I really connected with it. And for some reason, I want to get on board with Shia LaBeouf, and it worked for me. And I would recommend, if anybody, I mean, we saw the Peanut Butter Falcon earlier, and there's an interview show that I really like called Hot Ones, where this guy interviews celebrities as they eat progressively hotter hot sauces on chicken wings. And Shia LaBeouf did one a couple months ago, and you should watch it because it's a really fascinating look into what he's really like. He doesn't seem like that bad a guy. You should check it out. I encourage everybody to go out and watch it. And it made me connect with him, on a higher level. I thought this thing was great. I thought the performances were excellent. I thought it was written excellently. And I appreciated his ability to kind of be fearless and kind of just throw it all out there. Even though it's fictionalized, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty close to the truth from what I've read.
Yeah, no, I did enjoy it. I don't know what it is. In fact, I gave it a pretty good score. When I walked, maybe it's because I saw Honey Boy first and then Waves.
Okay.
So I think maybe the 1-2 punch may have been a bit much for me.
Of domineering fathers.
Yeah. So, no, I did enjoy it. And also, too, how about Lucas Hedges nailing Shia LaBeouf's kind of cadence? Did you notice that? Right? He sounded he talked just like he talks.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. I thought that was really well done. No, I thought it was really good as well. I don't know what it was. Just one... I still can't wrap my arms around what it is. And also, I want to give some... Sorry, go ahead.
You're just too dead inside already?
It could very well be.
Yeah.
I'm still working through the stuff with my own father, so I can't imagine.
There you go.
How about, too, FKA Twigs, who played the shy girl across the way in the motel?
Yeah.
A really kind of sweet, touching performance from her as well. So, yeah, no. I mean, I'm giving Honey Boy a B+.
Are you? Really?
I did enjoy it.
Okay. That surprises me. I gave it an A. I thought it was extremely strong for me. I'm surprised that you liked Waves better than you liked Honey Boy.
Waves felt like a fuller experience to me.
That may be true, but I feel like Honey Boy was a more real experience. It was a more honest experience.
No, that's true. Maybe I'll have to think about that. Good times.
Good times. We're getting deep on this show. This is December 1st run, folks, when all the awards bait's coming out.
So if you had a chance to see Honey Boy, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Yeah, no, I don't... Fine. Okay. Let's keep the train rolling because it's late. I love you guys a lot. And I want to get into this Who Dat. We got a lot of fun role-playing things coming up this week. So let's get rolling.
Mr. Blanc, I know who you are. I read your profile in The New Yorker. I found it delightful. I just buried my 85-year-old father who committed suicide. Why are you here?
I'm here at the behest of a client.
Who?
I cannot say, but let me assure you this. My presence will be ornamental. You will find me a respectful, quiet, passive observer of the truth.
Observer. Ornamental.
A respectful observer of the truth.
Foghorn leghorn. I did that.
I'm just a
drive Matt
space chicken attorney.
So that's, of course, Daniel Craig and Jamie Lee Curtis from Rian Johnson's Knives Out, which we reviewed just last week. So we're going to start with you off being Daniel Craig. What accent do you want to do next? And I'm hoping it's like Minnesota.
Well, Chris, I think I might want to do that vaguely unplaceable South African accent where it's not quite right, but you can't quite put your finger on where it's coming from. If I can nail that, I feel like I've mastered the accent game.
I would like a puff kind of French accent.
There you go.
Fun. Or Russian. That might be good.
Yeah.
I'm pulling off.
There you go.
All right. Well, let me ask you, Daniel. So the new trailer for No Time to Die dropped last week.
Right.
And I think, though it is a fantastic trailer, lots of great action, some beautiful images, it looks great. I think it reveals too much. What did you think?
Chris, it's a feint. We have you looking over here to the right. We learned our lesson with the Spectre. We didn't want people guessing. So we've got all you guys looking over here when really it's happening. This is the stuff that you got to be paying attention to. Trust me, you'll love it. I think you personally, Mr. First Run, will love it.
There's a very good chance. Are you officially done as James Bond? Is this going to be your swan song?
Yes, I had to be dragged to this one. They had to back up a dump truck full of money to my house. And you know what? I'm only human. Rachel Weisz said you better take that money, and so I did. The favorite, as good as it was, is not paying the bills. So yeah, this is definitely my last one. I think this will give me a nice nest egg to try out the rest of my accent chops that I'm looking forward to putting out there.
So this will be his fifth film as Bond.
Mm-hmm.
The first two, he was a brand new secret agent. And the final three, he's the elder statesman who's going to be like ready to retire or retired.
Right.
There's been no like middle ground for Craig.
There's no Bond in his prime.
No, that's the problem, is because they had to go so long between films. I don't know what the issues have been. Like Mora was churning out like one a year, for Christ's sake. I get like maybe 2-year window, but 3 to 4, it's been too much. We'll see. Good times. All right. Who am I?
You're Tom Holland.
Yep.
So back in September, it's confirmed that Sony and Disney finally worked it out that Spider-Man's staying in the MCU for at least 2 more films. So is that it for you? Are you out before this thing goes back into Sony? Like you're going to finish off in the MCU and then you're going to go out on the MCU and they can replace it with Miles or whoever else they want to replace it with?
Well, I want to address something first. It is not true that I called the studios drunk and crying, asking them to straighten everything out. You may have heard that recently, and I was not drunk.
Okay, but you were crying.
So, no. I will stay on as long as we're rolling with this beautiful, beautiful partnership. I think it will be interesting, though. It's going to be a challenge because over the next... So I'm in for 2 more Marvel movies, right? That will probably be 5 years of commitment for the role, I'm thinking.
Right.
By then, it will be infinitely more difficult, I think, because I think Disney will have purchased a theater chain and exhibiting their films specifically there, and then charging outrageous kind of licensing fees to the smaller theaters or the other chains that they may just not bother. And then I don't know what's going to happen then. So I'm in for the next 5. If we can keep everybody together and happy, that's fine. I'd like to make a film with Tom Hardy because I think he's fantastic. I don't know about this whole Venom non-related to Spider-Man thing and how we could make that work together. Or it'd be cool if I had a cameo in Morbius because everybody loves that guy. He's not crazy at all.
None. And you don't mean Jared Leto. You mean Morbius. It's
I mean Jared Leto.
Okay.
He's starting a cult, right? Supposedly.
Oh, really? No, I did not know that.
That's the latest thing. He has like some kind of sex cult going. So.
Oh, of course it's a sex cult.
Good for him. I guess.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
So, no, I'm all in. I'll keep rolling as long as the partnership stays together. But if it breaks up and it's just Sony now, we're going to have some serious negotiations. We may need, like, Daniel Craig last Bond money to keep me in this role.
Yeah, I feel you.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt, might as well do it then. Rian Johnson. After the success of Knives Out and the Games of Thrones guys flaming out.
Yep.
Are you going to get that Star Wars trilogy after all? And what are your thoughts on John Boyega's comments that just recently came out?
John Boyega?
Boyega, sorry, yeah. And I can fill you in on Bodega. His
I read them, but why don't you remind me? Why don't you get my blood boiling again?
So, it is that John Boyega, or Boyega, or Bodega. He said, call me either one. CJ or DJ. The Force Awakens, I think, was the beginning of something quite solid. The Last Jedi, if I'm being honest, and I don't think you are, I'd say that was a little bit iffy for me. Boyega said, I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the choices in that, and that's something that I spoke to Hamill about, and we had conversations about it, and it was hard for all of us because we were separated. Now, he was referring to how kind of their characters were separated, because that hasn't worked in a Star Wars movie before. Because I remember correctly, in Empire Strikes Back, they were all together the entire time in that film, right? Like, Luke didn't go do his own thing.
Sure.
While I think that's how I remember that movie. So that's what your boy Boyega says. Are you... All right, so anyway, you're getting that trilogy, and what do you think of John's comments?
So I'll start with Boyega first. I mean, I understand. I mean, Mark Hamill himself was very vocal about how he told me, to my face, that he disagreed with all of the choices that I had made for Luke. And Star Wars as a property has a very passionate fan base. People expect a certain thing. There's even divisiveness among the fans, among, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. So I wanted to do something different, and I went out and did it. But I understand where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. And I think really what John is saying, I don't think it's necessarily that they were separated so much as I don't think he agreed, much like Hamill, that he agreed with the way I portrayed his character and where I took it, where it was much more of a comic relief kind of thing as opposed to being a central force of the action like he was in the first one, and he was built up to be in the first one. So I feel like he thinks it was a bit of a sabotage of his character, more so than it is just the fact that he wasn't hanging out with Oscar Isaac and Daisy Ridley. So I understand, John, but that's why I'm the director. For the second piece of that, to be quite honest with you, I'm not 100% sure I'm interested in making a new Star Wars trilogy. From what I understand, Disney now kicking around the idea of using the Knights of the Old Republic games as a basis of a trilogy, possibly even with Keanu Reeves expressing interest as playing the main character. I know that's a piece of Star Wars lore that's ripe with history. I'm completely okay with that. I don't think that the fans are ready for a differing opinion yet. I think I'm going to give it a little bit more breathing room before I even think about doing my own trilogy.
Yeah, I think I read online someplace that somebody said that the problem is they don't know where to go with Star Wars. There's no ideas. Like there's no vast, decades-long, other content that was written and already developed, all these books and series and games and all of this stuff that they could, like you said, mine from. I don't understand people at all. And can I just, a little thing too, I was trying to pull up on Box Office Mojo. I was kind of curious how The Last Jedi did in comparison to all the other Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
There's like no way to do that now.
Oh, really?
No. The new site sucks.
I haven't looked at it in a while. Although, so I mean, as myself, I think Johnson would be open to doing it, but I think there's going to have to be some serious distance. I think people are going to have to take this new one, digest it for a few years, and then kind of make their own minds up, and some of the noise died down, because I'm in some Star Wars, subgroups and subreddits and stuff like that, and just people are just unbearable. They are the worst fans that I've ever been ashamed enough to call myself a part of. Yeah, it's just insane how much they have it for a lot of the Disney stuff. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I've been watching the films again in anticipation of this newest one.
Mm-hmm.
Those first two are not good. The prequels.
Oh yeah, they're not. They're terrible.
Particularly Attack of the Clones. Dear God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be a little easier on it given the distance and time, but it's worse. And then even Sith is the best of the three, but it's not.
That's faint praise.
I'm 2/3 through Solo right now, and then it's on the Rogue Nation. I'm watching them chronologically.
Yeah, okay.
So
I was going to do the machete cut, try that out. I just haven't gotten around to making it very far. So
cool.
All right, so you're Jason Reitman.
Okay.
Your new trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife has dropped.
Yeah, you mean Stranger Things season 4?
Sure. Well, that's kind of what I want to ask you. Ghostbusters is obviously this kind of screwball comedy from the 80s. That's part of what made it so great.
See, I've been hearing that. That was not my experience watching the film. When I made this, I'm thinking Ghostbusters is supposed to be a comedy is what I'm seeing online. I'm like, because that's not what I'm doing here. So,
all right, well, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, are you even making a comedy, or is this more of a straight up horror thriller with some comedic veneer to it?
It's going to be kind of a kids throwback 80s kids adventure comedy, like your Explorers or whatever you want to call it. And it's going to be some laugh elements. We'll get some cameos from Bill Murray and Aykroyd. Hopefully, I haven't decided if I'm going to throw a bone to Ernie Hudson, who always gets screwed out of all this stuff. So I'm on the fence. I'm starting to be concerned that I am crap without Diablo Cody. I don't know yet, but that may indeed be the case. I'm not 100% sure.
I appreciate your self-awareness.
Thank you. So, don't worry. That's just a trailer. There will be some laughs. You're going to have a lot of fun. Everybody loves their Finn Wolfhard. I mean, Christ, listen to that name. Let me say it again. Finn Wolfhard. And it's always fun to see what the Spengler kids are up to. So, now I don't know why, I'm not going to spoil for you why all this stuff is in Grandma's farmhouse or whatever it is there. And why, for some reason, there was this gigantic attack by ghosts in New York City in the 80s that nobody seems to remember. But don't worry about it at all.
Well, Paul Rudd remembers.
That's true. So one guy does. And hey, it's got, listen, casting is basically the key to success in a film. Mm-hmm. And getting your boy Paul Rudd on here, you're already, you're going to have at least some fun.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I overheard you talking more about the that Hot Wings show, whatever it's called, Hot Topics,
Hot
like
Ones.
the store,
Hot Ones.
Okay, so it's not people buying
no, it's not buying
black goth short shorts and
or buying Marvel T-shirts.
Right. Okay. That Paul Rudd one I love, particularly that meme.
Yeah.
Like who would see us? Who expect to see us here? Whatever it is like that. That brings me so much joy. Just that one little meme gift thing makes me so happy. So I think I answered your question.
You did.
Move on.
Yeah.
Matt, you're Todd Phillips.
Okay.
Director of the internet-breaking seminal film of 2019, Joker. Congrats on the Golden Globe nomination for Best Director.
Thank you.
Do you think you're going to get an Oscar nomination as well?
Yeah. No, I'm not. A 10 nominee field, sure. I could see that happening, but no, there's no way the Academy's going to nominate a director, and much less that even if I did, there was no way I would win if Christopher Nolan didn't win.
Well, I again, just like you said about me, I appreciate your humility and understanding of it makes me happy to hear that, because that is... Whew.
I don't understand the love of that film. I really don't.
Golden Globes are a joke. We all know that anyway. Not the Oscars aren't either. All right.
Mm-hmm. No. All right, so this is my last one, Chris. So let's stick on the Batman train. You're Matt Reeves.
Cool.
All right, so we have the announcements. We got Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. We got Colin Farrell as the Penguin. We have rumored Dave Bautista as Bane. We have Peter Skarsgård coming on as Harvey Dent, and Paul Dano as the Riddler. Be honest, you're making the long Halloween, aren't you?
Sure.
Just go ahead and say it.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing.
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Look at the cast. Look at all these characters.
Yeah.
They always say, the big problem with Batman is they introduce too many villains. There's always too many villains. Well, that's only if you do 2 or 3. I'm going to throw like 6 or 7 at you, if not more. Wait till you see who I cast as Calendar Man. You are going to poo yourself.
Really? Are you going to bring in Joaquin? Because that's the latest rumor, is that version of the Joker is going to be in this film.
I'm going to give you one hint who Calendar Man is. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Great ass!
No, Joe Pesci.
That's right. So yeah, no, it's. I read online the other day on the Twitters, somebody say, "Why is everybody always assuming he's doing Long Halloween now?" Those characters appeared in like year 1 in The Dark Knight Returns. I'm like, no, they didn't. Not all
Bane
of them.
wasn't in year 1.
Yeah, not all.
Or
of
Dark
them.
Knight Returns.
Yeah. So I don't understand some people, but yeah, no, because listen, the clues are all there. I told you from the beginning, I wanted to make a mystery detective movie.
Yeah.
Right, which is the core of the Long Halloween. Is it's a mystery. As Batman's trying to solve something. I'm not going to spoil what it is.
Yeah.
You check it out. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale. Classic Batman tale. So yes, we're cat's out of the bag. Catwoman's out of the bag. Is that sexist? We're making the Long Halloween. So gear up, folks. You're going to love it.
But so if he's doing a trilogy, he's doing 3 films from what I understand. That's what I heard. Is that true?
News
heard that
to me.
in passing. Oh, okay.
I haven't heard that.
Okay.
Maybe
Man,
they'll be loosely connected. Well, they did.
Yeah.
They did. Didn't Tim Sale and Loeb do? They did the sequel to the Long Halloween, right? They did one. I don't remember.
The even longer Halloween,
something like that. And then they did Rosh Hashanah.
The devastating Rosh Hashanah.
I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of is like Hush. Doesn't Hush have a ton of Batman characters in it too?
I believe so.
A lot of villains.
That's the same team, right? That did Hush.
I think so. Yeah.
So maybe they'll do Hush.
Yeah, maybe they'll do Hush. Although I would like to see a Court of the Owls thing going on because that was cool.
I'd still like to see, even though it doesn't make sense. Part of me wants to see an Elseworld series in Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah,
I
want to see Red Sun. That would be fun.
Red Sun would be awesome. Well, they're making an animated one, I believe, of that if they haven't already.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not the same.
No, it's not. Man, when will Cable get his Superman movie? Come on.
Never.
And you see
he's tied up now with something else now.
What's that?
He's tied up with something else now.
That's right. The Witcher.
Which
I think Netflix has already given a second season to.
Yeah.
Is that really going to be a big show? I never played the game. I bought it. Well, I downloaded it. It was a free PS Plus game. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, so the third one, The Witcher 3. Yeah, people love that game. I have it. I just don't have a lot of time to play video games, so I haven't played it, but I have read the books, and they're pretty cool. And so, yeah, I think it's got a cult following that could build.
Are they based on books, or is it video games and books?
It's based off of a Polish series. They've been translated into English, and I've read the first 2 or 3 of them, and they're all pretty good. It's an interesting idea.
Outside of me, what has Poland ever really given us that's worth anything?
Pierogies?
I don't like pierogies. I'm mostly
Kielbasa?
Polish. I found that out recently.
Are you?
Yeah. Well.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Not really. No, it's Eastern European, like Latvia.
Dr. Dunian?
Yeah. Estonia and that area is more.
Did you do like a 23andMe or something?
My father did.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then he reported the results.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually still mostly English. I'm half English, and then everything else is just a mess.
Everything else is just
as if you couldn't tell. What do you think about Bautista's Bane? I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, I'm a fan of Bautista. You know, I didn't expect I would be, but I'm on board to at least give a gander at what he does. I mean, I think he's capable.
I still think I want him as Jack Reacher too. I think that would be fun.
He's
here. He lives in Tampa. I've seen him.
I know. Haven't you seen him around?
I have a couple times, a couple restaurants.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't bothered him though. Seems like a nice guy. Plus, I'm not gonna. He's massive. He's actually not that big. I mean, he's big. Yeah. But when you see him in real life, he's not like some 6'5" juggernaut looking guy. He's, I think he's almost my height, maybe an inch taller, but he's just wide.
Yeah. Right.
So, nice
I'm
guy.
sure he doesn't get all the time where people just stand there not moving and saying that he's invisible because he's moving so slow.
That's right. That's right. Well, that was fun.
It was fun.
A lot of tangents.
Yeah, it's always
this week,
fun.
but yeah. So that's who that.
We had to end on something after all those bummers of a film, right?
Oh, God, this was a tough week.
It was.
Great films, but tough. Speaking
what
of
do we
tough,
got next week to clear the palate?
Oh, it gets even better. It's going to be Richard Jewell.
Oh, yeah.
The Clint Eastwood film.
Light viewing.
Which I've read some interesting things about that, which may make me furious. So tune in that one, folks. That'll be a lot of fun.
I was surprised. I mean, with Eastwood's later in life right wing politics, I was surprised you were so gung ho to see this. So interesting.
Well, because Jewel got screwed, so I'm interested in seeing that. But it looks like Clint goes with a different direction, and maybe even continues some of his horrible decisions, a la the 1517 to Paris, whatever it's called.
Oh, please no! God, that movie was so bad. You know, there are certain films that when Chris says we have to go see them, that I think about quitting the show, and that was one of them. And that lived up to every terrible thing that you inflicted on me.
Well, my big issue with that is the weird decision he makes where he has the soldier look up the woman's dress when she's going up that spiral staircase. And we pause on it for a good 4 Mississippi. I'm like, Clint, what are you doing? You dirty
He's the
old
same
son
guy
of a
who's
gun.
the octogenarian who has a threesome. So
2 of them. He has 2 threesomes in the mule. Clint's off the rails. I mean, I get it, man. You're running out of time, right? Clock's ticking. So go for it. But you really need to embrace your inner just horrible old dude.
I know. This creepy old man.
So Richard Jewell. Because, hey, it's got our buddy from I, Tonya, who we absolutely love. So
that's true. We do love that guy.
And then Black Christmas. I love the original Black Christmas.
Oh, are we doing both? Are we doing double dip?
I thought we said we were going to. Well, I'm going to. I thought
we
said we were going to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I don't know. We may have to come with a plan B, just in case.
All right. Well, Black Christmas is it's 91 minutes long, too, if that helps.
Right.
It's short. Well, I'll be doing both. So you'll get at least both from me next week, and who knows what else. And then coming up a week after that, is the week after that? It's going to be our Adam Driver Fest.
Right.
Because we'll be doing Star Wars, The Report, and Marriage Story.
Right.
It's wall-to-wall Adam Driver. I'm very excited about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review and help other people find the show. We are available on all of your podcasting locations. And as always, you can buy actual physical hard copies of the show at your local Bananas Music for a mere $3.99. It used to be $4.99. Now they're $3.99 pop. So get them while they're hot. All right, Matt. Let's go ahead then, take that break, and we will see you all soon.
So, what do you want, red or pink?
Normal, like you had a girlfriend?
Like I had a wife.
You were married at 16.
You ask a lot of questions.
I'm curious.
So was the cat, and look what happened to her.
I'll take my chances.